Hold on to your users to hold on to your rankings. Why user engagement and visitor satisfaction is at the heart of brand SEO strategy for the Stars Group. Speaker, Manuel Martinez, SEO Manager, the Stars Group.
All right. How are you guys doing? Thank you for that kind introduction, and thanks for having me here. So I do SEO for the Stars Group, and I'd like to talk about some of the quite interesting developments that have happened in the world of SEO for the last sort of 2 years or so. So the presentation is called Hold On to Your Users to Hold On to Your Rankings. And for the next 12 or 13 minutes or so, I'd like to talk about how keeping visitors longer on your website can actually lead to better rankings. So earlier this year, there was a ranking factor study by a company called SEMrush. And what they did is they looked at search results in Google to try to identify the things that actually make one website rank higher than another. And these are their findings. The caveat here is, of course, that these are not hard facts. These are correlation studies, but gives sort of an indication of the world of SEO in Google today. So what's interesting about this, and what I find interesting, is that if you look at what's sort of highest on the list of most important factors, time on site, pages per session by visiting users, and bounce rate. These metrics are quite new in a sense, because they relate to how visitors engage with search results. Whereas before, Google was trying to look at on-page factors and links and so on. Now they try to judge the quality of a search result based on how visitors engage with a website. So first of all, I will talk about bounce rate, which is the percentage of people who choose to stay on a given page rather than go back to Google and find another one. The time they spend on that website, and the amount of pages they actually navigate to during that session. So if these now are important for SEO, what can we do to improve these? So let's start with lower bounce rate. Now, a note on bounce rate. It's not necessarily always a bad thing. You can log into your Google Analytics and see that a high bounce rate indicates that people are not happy with the search result. It can also mean that they find exactly what they want in that session and just bounce off to do something else. But in this case, we will use it as an indication of an unhappy user. And one of the things that put people off is slow loading websites. So granted, there are many, many things you can do to speed up your website, but I sort of prioritize some of the things that I like to emphasize within our organization. So use a good CDN to leverage local server caching, use browser caching, image compression, and many more things like a solid hosting provider and minimizing script on a page. Another thing that puts me off with some websites is, intrusive elements, pop-ups that kind of, intrude, impose themselves on you as you land on a page. What I want to see is content, whatever that is, and then there are other ways to sort of incentivize users to opt in. So try to avoid, automatic videos, automatic audio playing, things that just interrupt with the overall experience. Third point here, try to use content or produce content that is easy to consume, easy to digest at a glance. Make it to the point, make it well structured, use headings, use summaries, bullet points and so on, so that people can actually understand what it is that they will read quickly. If you just have a big chunk of text, that could put people off as well. And finally, make users feel trusted, like that they are in a safe spot, in a safe place, in a trustworthy website. Now, Google Chrome is using an image in the address bar saying this website is secure. If you have a non-secure website, that could put people off as well. And try to use third-party certifications. So that could be in our industry like GambleAware or the payment methods that you offer, and display them so people feel safe. Third point here is show evidence of other people having been on this page before. So visitors like to feel like they use content that other people use, right? So surface some reviews and content around like commenting and so on, evidence of other visitors. And finally, be truthful with your copy. So don't over-exaggerate, don't over-promise, don't use exaggerations that can actually put people off. So now we have visitors on our page. They want to stay, they like you. What can we do to help them stay for longer? And one of the things that I like to promote is sort of giving more than the user expect. So be creative with your content. By all means, use images and text and videos. But this is a good example of, this is by no means a groundbreaking piece of content. It's just a GIF that is displaying the college enrollment in the US. But what it does is it's not intrusive, but it just sits there and kind of plays. And what I do when I see this, I spend some more time on that page. So try to be creative with the format. Another good way of incentivizing people to sort of stay longer is to ask them to do something. Engage with the content. So this is from one of our PokerStars landing pages where we have a tutorial game that actually help with time on site. So have games, quizzes, something that is playable, clickable, scrollable, something that I just ask people to do something. And again, time on site will go up. And finally, use visually captivating image elements. So images, graphs, and videos in a format that is, not what people expect. So this is an example from the Daily Mail where they have a comparison between, before and after image of some town in economic progression. And rather than having one image next to the other, they have a layered image with a slider that kind of made me go that, for 30 seconds. At least, time on site goes up. Okay, now what? So we'll have a happy user that decided to stay on our page for longer. Let's guide them further and visit as many pages as we can during that session. One thing we can do is to surface related content to the content that they already see. That could be something newly produced or old but important from either a business perspective or there's some kind of semantic relationship that you want to emphasize. Link to a page that actually convert well, whatever that might be. And try to use inviting headlines to sort of guide these people throughout their journey. This is from the Lab Bible, where they use both a clickable image, I don't know what that is, but it looks funny, and an inviting headline that make people click and browse. And secondly, you can add call to actions within the content, read this article, take this survey, read our QA, write a review, contact us, whatever. Something that help people take that decision. People want to be guided. They want to know where to go and what sort of content to browse. And finally, focus on the user experience from start to finish. So if a user is happy with the overall experience of the website, they will stay longer, right? For mobile users that are now more than desktop users in many cases, make sure the website is mobile friendly and loads quickly for mobile users and renders well. Have a clear navigation. I personally hate big mega menus where I don't really know what to click on, so try to help people find their way. And finally, have a search box for those users who couldn't really find what they were looking for. You try to surface content, but they couldn't find it. So help them with the search box rather than having to go through the frustration of going back to the homepage. So again, this is very high level, some of the things that you can do to help people enjoy your visits, which can actually help with your rankings according to the latest ranking factor studies. Before I finish, links are important. Not as important perhaps as they were 10 years ago, but fifth on the list of ranking factors from SEMrush. And I think something that should be at the heart of any SEO strategy, and it certainly is for us. So before I hand over to the guys in the SEO panel, I like to just extend an invitation to the affiliates in this room. I'm going to be at the PokerStars affiliate box. Come talk to me about SEO, about links, content partnerships, content syndication deals that we may discuss. That's it from me. Thank you for listening.